Thank you for joining us at Icing Images. Today we're going to talk about the Sweet Accents. It is a food-safe die cutting and embossing system that was developed between Spellbinders and Icing Images. The importance of food safe runs very deep, obviously. It is important these days that we ensure the safety of all the people who we are decorating cakes for. The Sweet Accents has been around for a little bit. We've actually gone through a few phases. This is the basic machine. On the bottom, you'll notice there is a handy-dandy suction cup, which allows you to adhere it solidly to the table, and it won't move. You either received a tray with a diagram on it or one without. The diagram on here has changed. If you do have a diagram on yours that has the whiteboards on the bottom, that you please contact Icing Images at sales@icingimages to receive your free label that will allow you to have the right order and you can stick it directly to your machine. The first phase of the Sweet Accents had cleared boards on it that had letters on it, similar to this one that you see here with the letter D on it. There was an A, a B, a C, and a D. And then of course there was the Silicone Food Safe Mat. These letters are on the corner of the boards, allowing you to find them. So today when I talk about how to use this, I am going to be referring to the boards with the letters. These are the newer boards. These are also food safe. You have two whites, a pink cutting board, as well as a gray and a silicone mat. All of these are food safe. I will be referring to the boards with their letters as well as their colors. So whichever one you have, you will refer to them. The Sweet Accents, the main boards that you use are the pink and the white boards. The pink board is the cutting board. You'll see actually this dies will sometimes cut into this board. That is the purpose of the board. This board can be replaced. If it gets worn out, you can use both sides until it does get worn out. You can order those at our website at www.icingimages.com. Alright, today we're going to cut first on some icing sheets. Icing Images has several different types of sheets that are available. They come in lusters as well as plain colors, and you can also print on the icing sheet as well. We will also be talking about wafer paper. Our Icing Images premium wafer paper comes in 5 colors as well as white. That also can be printed on. Our wafer paper is a little different than others that you have found out there. Ours is actually flavored with vanilla, so it tastes yummy. Dies come in different types. They come in a beginner die, an intermediate die, an advanced die, and a new wafer paper only die. The beginner dies, you're going to see that they're open and they're easily cut. This makes them easy to use with both icing sheets as well as wafer paper. The intermediate die will take a little more patience. This is a border die. This is a very cool die. It's one of my favorites because it allows you to interchange them to create borders that go around a cake. Now we made this an intermediate die because in order to use that, you'll see this cut edge is open. That allows you to take this after you cut it and connect it to another cut. So you would cut and then you would recut, and you can actually line them up. There are directions on the inside as well. Some intermediate dies look like this. They have more intricacy to them. They may take more patience in using them because you have to take your time in removing the icing sheet. We also have advanced dies. This is our cathedral window. It's a really beautiful die, but you'll see there's even more intricacies that are used in this, and it may take more patience than rather like an intermediate die. A new die that we have is our wafer paper only die. It says premium wafer paper dies on. Wafer paper dies can be used only with the wafer paper. You're going to find if you try to use it with an icing sheet that the icing sheet will not stand up to the things that you need to do to the icing sheet with these dies. These dies are actually beautiful, and like this one, for example, that is part of this wafer paper, you actually can fold these parts back and you tuck them. The wafer paper is perfect for that. Now, all dies can be used with wafer paper, however, premium wafer paper dies can only be used with wafer paper. So to get started, we are going to start with our pink board, also known as the C cutting board in the older models. I'm going to place it on here. I'm going to grab a beginner die just to kind of show you how this works. And I'm also going to grab a intermediate die. Now you can fill up this whole cutting board with the dies, should you choose to, and that really works well. However, you can also use a couple and then allow this to go back through. What I like about the Sweet Accents is that there's no electricity, it's completely portable, and there's no software to learn. The important thing to remember when you're doing this is you don't slide. You want to hold it steady, and then you go ahead and you roll it through. It's that easy. You can see I'm using 2 fingers. It will get to the dies, and when it does, it gets a little bit tougher. Here it is, it hit the dies. I actually have to close my fingers and grab onto it, and it's coming out the other side. All right. It's that simple. So there's no loud machinery, there's no electricity, no software. All right, so here is what we created. I like to keep the icing sheet backing on, and you'll see this pops right off. Now what's nice is I can, with the beginner dies, I can literally pop it out. And there we have our beautiful flower. Now these come in a set where you can actually layer these. Now this die is an intermediate die. Now sometimes if it's dry out, you can kind of bang it. I like to bang it and it'll come out. Isn't that beautiful? If it's more humid, it may require the use of our handy dandy pick tool to allow you to kind of push through and lift up. These just popped right out today. Now that's as easy as it gets. Now you'll notice here that there's some red still in there. You can take a toothbrush and just kind of brush it out and it'll pop them all out. Sometimes you can just whack them and they start falling out, whichever way you want. But that's one of the reasons why we call it an intermediate die, is that afterwards you have to do some little cleaning sometimes, but these are just kind of popping right out. If you have a toothbrush, it will just fly right out of there. All right, so there's another piece in there, it just pops right out. And if for some reason it doesn't pop out, you can use the edge of this pick tool and just kind of pull it out. All right, next I'm going to take an eye design. This was actually a premium icing sheet that we printed an eye design on. Eye designs are actually a unique product only offered by Icing Images. It has over 1,600 different images that are licensed for edible use. You can print on the icing sheet or the wafer paper, either one, and it works great. Now, I'm going to do what's called embossing next. It's a cut and an emboss, and that's a unique thing about these dies. I'm going to go ahead and just put one die on here for now. I put it on the pink plate, which is also known as the C cutting plate, and I'm going to go ahead and put the A plate right over top, and it's also called the white plate. I only have one die on there, so I'm going to show you a real quick way to bring it right through. I just rolled it through once, and I'm bringing it back the other way. And voila, it's done. All right, so that is on there. Now, I actually should not open this up because if it's dry, it can cause problems. I'm gonna flip this over. Boom. All right, so this die is down. I'm gonna go ahead and I am going to take the Silicone Embossing Mat, put it right on. Now, you'll note I have the backing on there. If you don't use the backing, the icing sheet will stick to the mat, okay? The die is still on, the icing sheet is still on, the backing is still on, and I've just added the silicone mat and the second A white plate. Now I'm going to go ahead and run it right on back through. Now, you'll notice when I peel this up, it actually likes to peel. It's kind of cool. The die came right off. Put that aside. Now, I need to go ahead and pull this through. I'm going to whack it a couple times, see if it wants to come out. It probably won't because we did use the embossing mat. Now, if you notice, these bigger cuts I'm going to push right through. That opens them up. These little ones are actually just little release points, and out it comes. We thank you for your time. Please visit us at www.icingimages.com or like us on Facebook at Icing Images.